Hi guys, Ian and Matt from Football Boots, and today we're looking at football boots that have changed the game. So Matt, what are we starting with?
So we're going to be looking at the first ever signature edition of a football boot. Now, like today, we've got the CR7s, but signature boots were around such a long time ago. Even in the 1970s, when Pelé was playing for Brazil, best player in the world, they had the Pelé Puma Kings. Now, again, in the 70s, Beckenbauer in the Adidas, he had his own pair of football boots as well, called the Beckenbauer Supers. So signature edition boots have been around for a long time, but obviously this is R9, and these were released for...
Yeah, so they're the 98 World Cup, and these are probably that like signature boot that really did make that big step to change the game. The other ones, they were there and it did happen, but this is when it really kind of ticked over. And that's what we're looking at in this video. It's not necessarily like the first time something happened, but the boot that actually was really important for that aspect. And we say that these R9s were the ones that was the real important time for the aspect of signature boots. So these were obviously the smash on YouTube.
Exactly right. So these were the Ronaldinho 10R TM pose. Now obviously it had that very famous YouTube video when he received them in the box, he took them out, he laced them up, and then he did his crossbars. It was 5 or 6 in a row, and that was the first massive smash on YouTube. As you said, 1 million views, and that just proves the power of a signature football boot. And Nike, Adidas, and Puma, they've all gone that way now.
Yeah, everybody's got a signature boot. All right, so who's this guy and what's going on here?
So this is the world famous Alan Ball, England legend. Now the interesting thing about Alan Ball was he was the first player to wear a coloured pair of football boots. Now all boots back in the day were all black. As you know, very classical, every footballer had to wear black boots, but Hummel actually changed that and they gave him a white pair of football boots.
Yeah, so a guy called Brian Hewitt, he was the marketing manager or director of Hummel at the time, and it was his idea to give him a pair of white boots and never been seen before. I did talk to Brian about this a couple of years ago, and he's kind of telling me the story. It's really interesting. He was saying it was like the 1970 Charity Shield, and the commentators were just kind of referring to him as twinkle toes. Nobody had ever seen a pair of white boots on a player before, and that's like the start of the colour changing in boots. Colour changing.
Yeah, so colour changes. So we had black boots to start out with, and then they changed the colours into white or more solid colours. But Nike took to another level with the Hypervenom Transform SEs, and as you can see from the picture, they start off black, but as they get a little bit of heat, they actually change colour. Now it's something that we're really interested in and might try ourselves. It's a very hard technique to achieve, but it is so cool, and obviously it just shows how much football boots have developed over the years.
Yeah, you guys can see in the video now, just as the boots transform, they look really good. And recently we've had New Balance, they've brought out their own colour changing ones, this time reacting with water. So these things are developing all the time, but for us that big game changer was obviously those first white pair of boots. Another game changer.
So game changers. So back in the day, just like we said, black football boots, they were mostly created from leather constructions, but that first original Predator released back in 1994, they literally did change the game because they actually added some rubber elements onto the striking portion of the boot to give you a bit more power and also a bit more precision, but this was massive in the football boot market.
It's huge. So these were created by ex-Liverpool player Craig Johnston. He was an Australian. He came up with the idea of adding these to the boots, and he went and he talked to Adidas about it. They loved the idea, and so they ended up creating his kind of thing. He tested by putting, I think, bits of like table tennis bats on boots and things like that. It's like an incredible idea, and it was an incredibly successful thing as well. So Predator was around for a long time, 94 all the way through to 2014. At the time, everybody was like, "Oh, you've killed off the Predator. What are you doing?" But perhaps maybe some of the stuff we've seen since then, perhaps it wasn't such a bad idea. So we've got a few, you might have seen Matt's video of these pulses on our channel. If you haven't already, make sure you go check that out. We'll put a link to that in the description. You've got the LZ, perhaps that's where it all went wrong.
Yeah, so for me, I think this is where it went a little bit wrong. As we can see from the picture, there's so many great pairs of Predator boots, and it's all about having that leather construction with those power elements on the striking areas. Now, where they went a bit wrong, synthetic materials, for me, this isn't a Predator. No. This is more of a modern day Adidas.
They started talking about Predator being control, and it never was. You're like power, added power, lethal zones, and it just wasn't right, and it didn't work. And maybe one day they bring the power boot back for us. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
But a lot of big name players wore them. So you got Beckham,
Zinedine Zidane,
and yeah. So huge names at the time were wearing the Predators, and perhaps there's not such huge names to support it at the moment. You're not going to get Messi in a power boot, so
no,
it's all about having the right boots for the players that the brands have at the time, I suppose. Right, talking about right boots, what's this?
Yeah, so this is, for us anyway, the first pair of speed-themed football boots. You've seen them already talking about the signature R9 boots, but these were the Air Mercurials. So at the moment, looking at these in 98, these weren't the Vapors yet, these were just the Air Mercurials, but the first time we really saw a fast boot, and as you can see by their branding, you can see it's all about making them look quick, and that's what the Air Mercurials were all about.
All right, so fast forward 4 years and you've got the Vapor ones.
Yeah, so the Vapor ones, and the biggest thing about the Vapor ones, whether it was made of that Tigen synthetic upper, which we still see today, is that good. Seriously, it's top level. They mastered it in 2002, and it's now still around in 2017. Speed theme boot, and for me personally, I think it'll probably be the same. The Vapors are probably the best speed boot on the market still to this day.
I think so. I think other brands have tried to compete and they've done their things that haven't really worked, whilst the Vapor and the Mercurial line just outsells a lot of stuff. Looking here, like a whole bunch of the Mercurials we've seen over time. Nike have been smashing it with those, really, haven't they?
Smashed the speed boots, yeah, for sure.
So that was the evolution of the speed boot for us, really. Talking about kind of evolution, this is something a little bit new and different. So this is the first time we saw a laceless football boot.
Yeah, so for a lot of you younger guys out there, you might think that the Pure Controls by Adidas were the first pair of laceless football boots, but that's not actually right. Looking back to 2006, Lotto actually produced their Zero Gravity boots, which didn't feature any laces whatsoever. It was all that synthetic material, and again, it had no laces.
No laces, you just kind of slipped into it. You had to make sure you got just the right size to fit, and so it has been done before. We haven't, Adidas weren't the first to do it, but it didn't stick around. But this was probably the game changer, even though the one that makes a huge impact is the laceless ones. And the reason they made a huge impact is because there's massive marketing muscle behind it. They got big name players like Özil wearing them and stuff like that. So a big change for the game, and it had the kind of sock type material on it initially.
Yeah.
But now we fast forwarded and now you've got the ones which is kind of complete kind of normal upper, and you've got the wrap and everything in there.
I think that's the most important thing. The Zero Gravities, they were laceless, but they were just quite a stiff synthetic. So in terms of fit, it wasn't the best. But what Adidas had done, they took that laceless construction but made it just a little bit better by adding more of an elasticated fit.
So yeah, these are just like streets ahead of what we saw when the Lotto Zero Gravity first came out. Let's move on and talk about something else that perhaps inspired a future boot.
Yeah, so again, just like the laceless Pure Controls, they weren't the first pair of laceless boots, and Nike weren't the first brand to create an anti-clog pair of football boots. Now, Nomis is actually Simon backwards, and he used to work at Adidas, but he went away and created his own pair of boots called the Nomis, and what they were all about was no mud technology, which was pretty much exactly the same as the anti-clog technology, repelling the mud away in winter.
Yeah. The anti-clog does work. We've got a video on those on our channel as well, so if you're interested in knowing more about the anti-clog, go through our old videos and find that, because it's worth watching. Anti-clog is here to stay. You're seeing it on a lot of SG boots. Those anti-clogs were kind of limited edition, didn't really go too wide in kind of sales, but now you can even get them on the Mercurial line, which didn't even fit the sole plate before. So anti-clog is here to stay. It does work. It is very good for those wet pitches if you haven't tried it before. But Nomis was the first time we actually saw it.
Exactly. And there's also a lot of professionals now in the Premier League wearing the anti-clog boots, because those pitches are so slick now, they get watered so much, they actually prefer them as well. So in terms of that high level performance, they do actually work. Yeah,
and it's just a case of those little bit extra just getting stuck where you don't have to wipe it out when you're taking a penalty or a corner or something, so it does make a big difference. Okay, so this is another kind of technology thing we're going to be talking about. And these are what?
So these are the F50 Tunic. So released in 2006, 2007, these were the first pair of customizable pair of football boots. And what you could do is change the studs. So if you wanted a firm ground, if you wanted a soft ground, you could do that, or a mixture. And you could also change the sock liners as well if you wanted comfort, lightweight. It was all up to you. This was the first time we saw it. They had a couple of different models, but what have Adidas got now?
Well, you guys all probably know about these. I've got them in my hands. These are the Glitch. So you could say pretty much the F50 was the father of the Glitch. It's always been there as a concept. This is just an enhancement and taking it to the next level. So for us, like the Tunic would be kind of that next step, and then the Glitch is just a follow-up. Glitch is obviously just still in the UK. Everybody wants it to go worldwide. Whether that happens or not, we'll have to wait and see whether there's going to be kind of a continuation of the Glitch. So, what are these?
So these are the Puma V106, one of my own favourite pairs of football boots of all time, and a big reason for that is they feature a carbon fibre sole plate. Now I love the way it feels underfoot, but I also love the way it looks. Now Nike obviously do a lot with the carbon fibre, especially with their Superfly 4 and some other pairs of football boots, but Puma were the first brands to actually include carbon fibre onto their football boot, and it was for two reasons. Firstly, making it lightweight, and secondly, making it very responsive.
Yeah, I mean, these were a massive success, that line at the time. This was a time when Puma was selling a lot of boots. These were hugely popular. I remember that we were selling these and they were just going crazy, people trying to buy those. As you say, kind of, they brought a re-release out, not that long ago, but nowhere near as popular as what it was. And it's really interesting, they're almost a complete copy of the ones that came out at the time. Puma did an amazing job of just bringing exactly the same boot back, but people weren't really interested in it. Things have moved on. But you were saying Nike, they're the ones who liked using carbon fibre as well. They kind of moved into that and were looking for the lightweight boots. And some of the really good boots that they brought out were around the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. They had this elite pack, and like you could get a Tiempo with a carbon fiber sole plate, or you could get a CTR 360 like with a carbon fiber sole plate, and that's like pros were really lapping these up. There were a lot of pros wearing these boots, and they really appreciated that kind of lightweight boot, but with all the technological or leather aspects all combined into it for them. So there's those maestries again. Oh, and these ones had the.
So they were full carbon fibre, so these are the Vapor SL, so apart from having that carbon fibre sole plate, they were actually constructed from carbon fibre as an upper itself, and these are probably classed as one of the rarest and most highly sought after football boots on the market. Talking to a lot of guys who collect, these are the creme de la creme.
What would they be like to play in with a carbon fibre upper?
Probably maybe a little bit stiff.
Yeah.
I know there's a company out there at the moment called GL Sport, and they're actually starting to create some carbon fibre football boots, so maybe they made them a little bit softer. They actually specialise in carbon fibre products, so you might see some more carbon fibre football boots coming out very shortly.
Then do you think we'll be seeing some of the lightest boots in the world if it's carbon fibre upper and carbon fibre sole?
Probably because it is so light.
Yeah, okay. So, another construction, not a carbon fibre upper, this one is Prime Knit. So these were the world's first knitted boots. Adidas brought these out. Suarez was kind of the main guy who was promoting these at the time, and it's just about new technologies, new ways of making boots. Like before, you had to stitch bits of leather together, or you're using bits of kind of synthetic leather. And this was the first time that you were kind of weaving a boot together. So Adidas were the first ones to jump on this and do that. There was a second colorway for those. We have like a even later colorway here, the Prime Knit 2.0s, which is like the next step of these. They weren't really sold in huge numbers, but people kind of liked the concept, and Nike followed up very quickly. They had their own version with the Magista. And then let's move on to our next kind of evolution and big game changer, and that is obviously
the dynamic fit collar.
Yeah.
Now, collar football boots, they have been the absolute craze for the last couple of years, and it is the latest big craze of football boots. It really has changed it. Now, Nike did it with their dynamic fit collar, but Adidas have also done it with their Pure Control, and Puma have done it with the Evo Knit. So that's pretty much where we are at the moment. Nike put it onto the Magista Over to start out with, and then they put it onto the Superfly, and also onto the Hard Venom, and it looks like it's here to stay, which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I think the only thing they haven't done so far is put in the Tiempo, maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe so.
But as you say, like Adidas put it in, they used it on that Pure Control, the 16s, and then we saw Puma with it on their Evo Touches.
Yeah.
So that pretty much wraps up our look at football boots that change the world. What do you think is going to be the next bit of technology that is going to change the football boot world? Drop a comment below, let us know what you think, and we're also going to put a poll card up where you can have a vote on the 5 things that we think might change. But make sure you comment below, make sure you go enjoy your football. Thanks for watching.